Okay, so we're doing another walk episode. We did already one in Spain when I've been talking about the QuakeCon results and things like this. So today I want to talk a little bit about Quake since I'm on a walk with Dog. You already might know him because like when we played 2v2 with Kron, he was like going ham completely in my home. He was barking and things like this. It was very hard to play like with this guy in a room. Many people thinking how to improve in Quake, and they got something like very basic things, so movement, shooting, aiming, positioning and things like this. I think every Quaker started with timing basically, and I think back in the days the guy who invented timing, like proper timing to the seconds, I think it was Cooler. He was the first one who was timing like, for example, 2-3 items, and it was much more difficult to time in Quake lifetimes because it was 35 and 25 seconds. So I think this is super important for people in the beginning, to time to the second, and also to know the whole rotation on the map. I think Rafa's game style is based on this, and I think it's very important in 2v2 when you got two people who are on the same page and they are attacking item together and they are on point. Also when you are fighting for an item and you know exactly second, you are able to jump on it or stand on it and take it, get advantage and basically get a frag. Another thing which is super important is aim, and I believe that it's kind of like it's in your blood, so you need to be talented. You need to have a good gift for an aiming, like for example Serious or Tox, Quake Live, they got like this talent. Like Close also has talent, Cypher has a talent, and I think you can improve it a little bit with programs like Kovacs and training on FFA, DM. I'm training my AM in DM and FFA because I think this is the best way, because you actually got people who are dodging, and you got real people who are moving in an unpredictable way, so it's not bots or it's not one pattern or anything like that. You actually got a chance to shoot a lot, because in 1v1 there's a lot of camping, there's a lot of waiting, there's a lot of spam. It's also different kind of aim, because like in 1v1 you're kind of setting up aim, so you know where somebody is, you holding a corner, you wait till somebody cross your crosshair. And in DM or FFA you kind of need to be reactive, because sometimes you enter the fight where your teammate is fighting already, and you kind of need to shoot the guy who's dodging not your shots, but he's dodging your teammate shots. So he's like, for you, he's moving in unpredictable way. You got much more fights, so more often you're shooting. So I think that's a good way to go. As I mentioned before, we're gonna try to do some podcasts for you guys like about aiming, and we're gonna strictly talk only about aiming, so we're gonna try to get some guests who's like really good with that, right? Another thing is positioning. If you see Rafa, he's playing like items heavy. He's also trying to go to the positions and to items first, so he's kind of like catching you when you are coming late for an item, and he can take advantage of that. And also after that fight, he's like trying to deny like little armors, like green armors. So positioning is like super well. One thing which is like many people don't think about it, or they think that it's not important, is like a mental state. I think the more, it's same like in sports. I don't think the guy who's like tilted or who is like very emotional can do very well in sports, in like boxing or football. You need to keep your emotions at bay, and you kind of need to be relaxed all the time when you're playing. So try to control your emotions, try to be calm, try to not tilt, and don't put any emotions. It's just what you need to focus on. This is the best advice I got, like on my first tournament on WCG when I was traveling in Italy. I was in a bus with some CS players from NIP back then, and one guy told me the only thing you should think about during the tournament is like how well you're gonna play. You need to give your best. Like you need to do your best and don't think about the result and outcome, because if you're gonna think about the outcome and the results, your mind gonna be busy like about something else. Just focus on timing, focus on aiming, focus on positioning well, on like having the clear head and reacting really good in game. So those are advice I can give you like very fastly. I think Wenger is doing a lot of this, so he's like having episodes on YouTube. Feel free to find him and to check his things. He's doing spawns, which are super important in Quake. In Quake Champions specifically, you need to know spawns. You need to know how to force them on specific map, because you always can get 1 or 2 kills, or even like do it in Rafa style. If he knows a lot about rotations, if he knows that heavy is coming like later, next, and he's getting a frag, he's gonna position himself in a way that the guy cannot get the spawn on heavy. Also super important, for example, if there is a gun on specific place on some map like Insomnia, you need to prevent spawns which are closest to that gun. So you don't want the guy to spawn on heavy or rail to get that gun actually. So that's also super important. There's a lot of little things which we're gonna talk about. As I said, just watch Wenger's YouTube channels. There's a lot of content out there. Like pros are open for you. Like back in the days when we were starting, we had to think a lot. We had to like download the files of demos of other better players, watch it, analyze it on our own, and only then we could like find actually some proper info for us. So that's it. This is just a little talk from our walk. We also gonna try to do more of this, since now I'm gonna be walking a lot with this dog. So if you got any subjects you want to talk about, or you got something interesting to talk about, just let me know, and then we gonna record more of this. It's not gonna be as long as podcast, it's gonna be something short, and that's it. And as I said, focus on timing. In my opinion, this is the most important, because if you watch the best Quake Pro players, they always focused on it. Cooler, heavy timing player, like his timings were on top like all his career, right? Rafa, same thing, he based on a timing. Like you got people like Pilsen who play a little bit differently. It doesn't mean that he doesn't time. He does time, but he times out of control, which is even more important. Let's say you don't have control, right? And you know perfect rotation, and you know perfect timing. You know when to stop and delay your opponent, and how to position yourself to take another item, even if you are less stuck. Especially in a game like Quake Champions, when one rail basically changing and switches the control. So if you position yourself well somewhere on top, on T, like Kilson likes to do, he just picks, he hits one rail, he does some chip damage with heavy machine gun or like tribal, and he already positioned himself on the next big item. It doesn't mean that you need to rush the items or anything like that. So that's my few cents from me, and have fun, guys.